Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Oasis. I'm just lighting an incense with my lighter that's not working very well. So this is the close of our third week already of doing Morning Oasis. And I'm curious, I would love to hear back from any of you who are my students or who work with me. I'd love to hear how this is helping you, if this is impacting your daily practice, what you're enjoying about it, what's working for you. Those things help me figure out how to better shape and form this so that it's something that's really helping all of us in this transition period, in this shifting period. So today I'm going to start by doing a couple of card pulls. Now the first card pull I'm going to do is actually for my friend Josh. He privately requested me to pull a card for him, so I'm so going to just do it right now on the show. And then I'm going to tell him, instead of typing it, Josh, you have to listen to the show. So you can listen to the first part. I did you first. Let's see. Josh asked for a card pull on a specific thing, shaping it around his trip, because Josh is one of those people, he's, I'm going to out you, bud. He lives his life in total commitment to going with the flow. He is a sign reader and a manifester, and it's beautiful to watch him navigate the world. And he is on a journey, always. He's always on the journey. He delivers the knowledge that he learns to all those he visits as he receives more knowledge, more understanding, more awareness. It's a beautiful process, and I'm honored to be a part of it, Josh. Thank you. So let's see. I saw a phoenix in my head before I even touched the deck, and of course the deck screamed at me, yes. So, Josh, you're going to get a past life card read. And this is one, because I never use this deck, as you guys have all heard before. I tend to just read it from the book, but I'll let you know what I get also. It's funny, all my cards are wanting to be shuffled at the beginning of the new year. Whenever I start to tune in and focus, my body does a release of what was holding it into that space. So you'll notice as I work, truth speaking, so you'll notice that as I work, oftentimes, my breath will catch, or I'll need to yawn it through, or I'll get stuck in a yawn. That's that, the energy's coming and there's a little bit of a block, and it encourages me to increase my flow. So that's kind of what's happening there. And maybe it happens to you too. That's why I'm explaining it. I used to think that shortness of breath meant something was wrong with me. All right, Josh. Ooh, this looks like a cool card. Okay, so it's number 8. Oh, good morning, Andrea. So, Josh, this is your card. And, see, now, I even, turned off Facebook and everything, and still it's chirping at me. There's this really cool little chart in the back. Persian bracelet. So the key phrase, surrender to the spirit of love. Good morning, Lisa. Your card pulls next. So, surrender to the spirit of love, Josh. Ancient Persia, Iran, Iraq, parts of Syria, 600 BC to 600 AD. Let's see, Neptune, ruling planet. The ability to merge with God through romantic love. Strange, beautiful, yet nebulous thoughts. There is a compelling need to merge with others and sacrifice the self, confusion, or an inability to project one's individuality. Innocent, gentle, and hopelessly romantic. Okay, well, so totally, Josh. It's funny. One of the things that I love about Josh, and he's probably going to kill me for talking about him so much. I don't know what happened to the rest of the box. Oh, there it is. Is we share this natural ability to just find something amazing and beautiful and something to fall in love with just about everybody that we meet, really. And we see past all of these boundaries and allow ourselves to shift into the persona of whatever it is that's necessary. We're reflectors. And so when we're together, it's so funny. We're able to reflect each other, reflect this reflection back. And sometimes that's just the most beautiful thing. And I know that one of the things that he's working on is this love thing. So there you go, Josh. This is a long journey for you, part of the lifetime journey. Good morning, Amber. Good to see you. Let's see. Lisa. What? Earth Magic wants to talk to you. This is another one of those decks that's really quite powerful, I feel. It's by Stephen D. Farmer. He's one of my favorites, the Earth Magic Oracle deck. I don't tend to get cued to pull from it very often, but when I do, it's usually always a very relevant message to all who are within hearing of it. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to listen to yesterday's meditation. That was really, really mighty. Ooh, I would talk about it for a moment while I'm clearing these cards. I don't know about you guys, but I had to go pass out. I went and slept for 3 hours after the show yesterday, and I heard from 3 other people who listened that they also had to go pass out for a few number of hours after the show, or for whatever length they could. All right, Lisa, let's see. Okay. This feels like a message for all of us, a little bit. So you got Dream Time and Creation. I love this card. I just think it's so beautiful with all the colors. I love how it has the rainbow of colors. Oh, you did too, Andrea. I was thinking you probably did. So, Dreamtime Creation. You know, our dreams, a lot of people think of our dreams as being these kind of a play out of our subconscious, and oftentimes they are. They're this period of time where we're processing all the information that was learned through the day. There's a great documentary on dream science. I want to say it was through... I can't remember. I'll see if I can find it. I know I posted it a while back. So it was one of the things that it talked about. It went through, and they would wake up people at different points in their dream cycle state. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Simone. And when they would wake them up, so first they would wake them up before they even dropped into that first stage of sleep, when we're kind of in the in-between. And when they would wake them up, they'd give them this list of word associations. So they'd have to write any words they thought of that started with the letter A, for instance. And so for people who were woken up at points before reaching that REM state, the word associations would all be under a negative context. And people they found who couldn't reach that deep, deep dream state, they would suffer from anxiety, more suffer from depression, and they would just struggle in their life. They'd have more stress-related health illnesses. So another part of that documentary was talking about, they did this experiment where they would have a person learn this video game. And it was a really cool video game where they're skiing. And they would have all these other elements and components, and so the video game itself was controlled by standing on kind of like a Nordic track like device, and it would like set you off balance, and it was hard to figure out. The point was the whole body and mind had to struggle as well as solve the problem of whatever the game was. So, you know, it was really difficult. It was one of those things that you had to do over many different times. So what they would do is they would have people learn the game, play it for a couple hours, and then take a nap. And they'd wake them up at different points in their sleep cycle. and then have them play the game again. They also were mapping what was happening electromagnetically through the brain while they were sleeping, much like they do when they're doing a sleep apnea test. You just finished it, Jolene? Good morning, Jojo. You're here and you just finished yesterday's? Wow, a lot of us had to pass out after that one. Good luck keeping awake in this one. We're doing another big journey at the end of this one. So what they found was the nature of the dreams would be different depending upon at what point in the dream cycle they were at. So during the first stage, for instance, of sleep, there was dreams occurring, and they would often be fragmented, and they would be like the guy said he was, you know, his dream was that he was trekking through the snow. Yeah, I bet you are feeling a little sleepy. So the guy was trekking through the snow, and wolves came upon him. Now, I don't think that wolves were actually in the game, but timber wolves were in his dream, and they were chasing him. And there was an element to the game of trying to get somewhere. So he was being chased somewhere. Then another person was allowed to fall all the way and drop all the way into the REM state. And during that state, it was more of a fantastical journey, his dream. And he was journeying along and exploring and more proactively involved and had a more positive kind of flair. Then they studied how well they performed trying the game again after first not reaching REM sleep and then also reaching REM sleep. And invariably, those who were allowed to get all the way to REM sleep did much better, far better on the game. And those that weren't actually did worse than they did before they went to sleep. Now, the point of all this, you got dream time and creation, right? It was yours. In our dream state, how we approach our sleep cycle is super important. When I go to sleep at night, now I'm not a huge sleeper actually. I usually tend to sleep between 6 and 8 hours on average. 6.5 hours is actually my average from when I had sleep apnea and had to use a sleep machine. So it's not, for me, I'm not a big sleeper. However, I approach my sleep with intention. As I go to bed each night, I release myself from whatever I need to think of during the day. Just like in the meditations, when we're unhooking from our expectations, recognizing they're not going to go anywhere. All that stuff's going to be there when we wake up in the morning. We're not going to forget anything. It's all still going to be just waiting there for us. So I unhook myself from these things, and I ground myself through my whole body. And I open my consciousness and allow whatever information is that's coming to me to come through. Let's see, I have recurring dreams about traveling and not being able to pack all of my stuff, and nightmares about people breaking into the house. So you feel vulnerable. Well, that's great, because one of the things we're going to talk about today is positivity versus negativity. We're going to discuss a little bit more about protection versus allowance, and reading the signs, you know, how to kind of flow through that and be more comfortable in that. So the dream time state for you, for me, my dream time state is some of my greatest exploration. Once I release myself from the physical vessel, my consciousness pretty much travels while I'm sleeping. I sometimes have a conscious recollection of where I've been. Usually it's more in flashes. And as the day progresses, I'll see the flashes, reminders, oh, was that what I was energetically setting up for today? And I can see how I play these things out, because there's no such thing as time. And once we free ourselves from the physical vessel, we're also kind of unchecking from the linear expression. And it allows us to travel all through. So I think that you're being asked to have more focus, more intention when you go to sleep of releasing yourself from this physical world. Your house that you're worried will be broken into, it's not. And if it's such a fear, truly such a fear, call on your angelic guides, call on your angelic presences to come in and support you while you're there. The reality is, the fear that you hold, if anything, is going to attract and bring to you things to prove that you need to be afraid, because your creation is reflecting your reality, your consciousness. Your reality is shaped by that consciousness continually. And it's really that you're kind of picking where in the reality to express. But we'll get more into that in a minute. And then I was going to pull one more card before we move on. Let's see. Well, it's already 10:15 and she didn't actually request it. So I'm going to hold her over for the next time. And I think that's a good segue to pop us into the conversation. So there's so much talk, about how to protect oneself, protection. A lot of spiritual communities will reject people under the guise of they carry too much negative energy. There's too much negativity going on. There's a lot of fear out there right now. And that's really important for us to just own. Just own that we hold this fear. Because by saying that I'm all love and light, or I'm gonna reject that and I'm gonna keep my life totally positive, I'm not gonna let any negativity come in. By doing so, you actually are drawing a lot more of it to you. You're actually drawing that to you. You're turning yourself into a magnet for it. Because the reality is that if you believe something to be true, like I must protect myself because others could hurt me, others could do this, others could do that, then you're not actually participating, you're subjected to your own life at that point. You're not the creator anymore. You're stepping back and allowing the creation to flow. And it's in a different way of allowance, right? It's not like you're welcoming the lesson, looking at it, opening up to it, finding all the little nuances that are there to be found. You're letting it build up on your fence line. So one of the things that, for me, when I was working on this, and I think I remember talking about this in one of the short little videos that we did before this evolved into Morning Oasis. So I was working with my teacher. I was expanding pretty quickly. She was uncomfortable with how much I was expanding. She kept telling me that she felt I was going to blow my energetic brains out. And I would kind of giggle because I'm like, is that possible? Like, really? Is that possible? There was a part of me that's all my teacher's telling me this, so it must be real. It must happen. But I certainly didn't fear it. Now, what I did have happen was as I became so big energetically, and my consciousness was half of the time not in my body at all, I lost my anchoring. I lost my anchoring with my husband and my family. I lost my anchoring in the reality that I was expressing in right now. I struggled with relationships. I kind of turned into this like little dinghy on a big raging ocean of confusion and subconscious thoughts. And I wouldn't trade a moment of that journey for anything because it taught me so much. However, I got to a point where I was having, negative experiences all the time. I was having a lot of conflict with friends. My mother and I had parted completely ways and decided to let that be for, the foreseeable future, which felt really painful at the time. Lifetime long friendships were closing. And I really felt like, oh yeah, that's right. My neighbor and our babysitter and another neighbor, all within a block of us and within a few nights, fell downstairs and hurt themselves. And all this stuff was happening. And I was like, oh my God, am I creating this? Is this because I'm constantly trying to stay so protected? Now, I should add here, in my instruction with my teacher, former teacher, her first and foremost focus with people was to ground into Gaia, to connect into Source, and to surround yourself in a bubble of protection. She would actually tell us when you're heading out into the world, you put on your hazmat suit. And when you're in your home, you've got your cashmere sweater on, but it's still a layer of protection. You're always protected. Well, after doing that for over a year and a half, my world was surrounded with things to protect myself from. And I really truly felt like I was the victim of it all. My marriage has some challenges to it. You know, if you were to diagnose us classically, my husband is a narcissist and I'm, you know, an empathic, codependent, if you want to put it that way, dissociative, right? So that would be the clinical diagnoses of us. We all have a list of diagnoses. One time a friend of mine and I played a game of list your diagnoses, and it was quite hilarious, actually. Now I recognize it very differently. But at the time, I felt like our marriage was escalating in difficulty and challenge. And the truth is, marriages are in a cycle of wonderful and difficult and wonderful and difficult. And there's like 30 of those going at different rates. Wonderful, difficult, right? Just depends on where you're looking. So anyway, I continued to protect myself, trying to clear the energy. My husband was constantly like, did you bring something home? You know, what is going on? And I was really struggling with this concept. My teacher kept saying, well, you're not growing your protections with you. You're not building them up with you and making them bigger. So I was talking with one of her coworkers and friends who works more the way I do. At the time, he was more trained in the perspective I was beginning to adopt and understand and step into. And I asked him, I was like, so you work like I do? And he's like, yeah, we do work very similar. And I said, so how do you protect yourself? Like, how do you get it to stop? Like, how do you make it so that every day you're not clearing and protecting and analyzing and cleansing everybody that comes to you? How do you make that stop? It feels like madness, and it feels like it gets me nowhere. Actually gets me in worse positions. And he said, well, I don't protect myself at all. And I was just like floored. Like, what do you mean? Because everything I had heard and experienced too, because, you know, when I first started using protections like the pyramid of mirrors, like the bubbles, like a golden filters, gosh, I can't even think of all the protections I used to use. But when I used to use all of those things, the pillars and the domes, but when I would use those things for protection, it gave me a sense of relief. It gave me a space, a breathing room, but only for a time. So I was really shocked, you know, to hear him say that he didn't do this at all. And I was like, well, how about clearing of energy? And he kind of giggled. And he's a French guy. He was actually a professor. He's a professor at MIT. I believe MIT. I could have that wrong. Some university. He's a physics professor. And really thick accent. And he kind of laughs and he said, I'll tell you what, have you taken a journey into the heart, into where your consciousness separated from God and became one separate? And I said, well, no, can you do that? And he said, yes. And when you do that, when you go into the center of who you are, that's when you find out that there's nothing to protect yourself from. It's all you. And that was my real first true introduction into unity consciousness. You know, I'd heard the terms, we're all one, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'd heard people say, thank you for healing you. By healing you, you heal me. Thank you, you know, but I hadn't really gotten that. And so that became my focus. How do I take a journey into the center of who I am? How do I travel back into myself, into the heart of myself? Now, I believe that if all of humanity remembered who they are, if every single person on this planet took a journey into the heart of who they were, we would live in the most amazing place. That's what I believe. So I thought today our journey would be into the heart of ourselves. What do you guys think? Does that sound like a good plan? I'm going to take a sip of my smiling coffee. Alicia, you joined just in time. Chris, I see you made it in today. Good job. Okay. Let's take a moment, guys. Breathe, get comfortable, relax. This is really quite perfect after yesterday's meditation of finding all the threads and fibers and strands of yourself and twining it into your tree, coming into your tree. So we're going to take that kind of same concept today. All right, go ahead and make sure you're sitting comfortably. Whoa, my head is huge and buzzing right now. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a big one, guys. So we're going to ground really deeply. Let me feel and see which kind of grounding feels best. We're going to do a galactic grounding, tapping into that toroidal field of the creation. So, breathing in this present moment, all the way into the root, and exhaling from your root. Breathing in. And exhaling. Breathing in and releasing your day. All that comes after we get off of this meditation. Breathing in, present moment, and unhooking from this morning and yesterday. Breathing in, present moment, all the way into the root. And exhaling, releasing the expectations of yourself in this journey. And just allowing. Allow your roots to drop down effortlessly and gracefully as we bring our focus into the heart chakra. Oh. Feel the heart chakra open like a barn door, sending your heart energy out, radiating out from you in that web. And choose around you 4 points. This is your galactic Merkaba. For me, I choose the elements. In front of me is water. Behind me is air. To my left is land, earth. To my right is fire. And I am that center 5th point of spirit, of source consciousness. Feel these 4 points around you, forming a plane that is your piece of the web. Allow those points as you exhale to drop down below you, coming to a point of connection below your root system. Now send that point of connection through the earth, all the way through Gaia, And through the sun, all the way through that heart of our raw collective consciousness. And allow that line to effortlessly arc into that spiral of our galaxy as it comes around all the way to the center of the galaxy, into the heart, into that black hole, and let yourself drop in through that point of singularity. And as you come out the other side and open up into a strand of separation, note your point of separation. Just put a little highlighter there as you travel down that line, all the way back to what is identified as you. Things are moving in the house. And allow that line to open up into the 4 points, connecting through that 5th point of you, into the heart. Feel yourself tapped into that full toroidal field like a great big donut of this creation. Let's just take a moment and flow that energy through us as we radiate it out of our hearts in the web of consciousness. Feel that tree of yourself opening up and encompassing all the expressions that are you, that are pieces of you, not just in this creation, but all creations. Allow all of your roots to touch into each of these expressions as they weave their way into that great big cosmic rope that is you. Allow that rope to twist and twine as you continue to follow it up. As you pass the fibers, don't look too closely, don't get lost in these pieces, these expressions, but allow them to call to you. They're one truth, they're one message, so that as you travel, you hear your theme, your life, your expression, your journey. Continue to follow and trace that journey back. All the way back through that spinning wheel of creation to where you are the thread just coming off that fluff ball of source, just being pulled and twisted for the first time from the whole. Feel that vibrational frequency of the first self, the pure self, free of all the karmic debris, the pain, the fear, the confusion, the egoic structure that identifies through power over dynamics, relationships. Feel that polarity beginning to form as the two twine to one, holding and encompassing both. Just begin to observe. Don't judge. Don't try to take away anything from it or change it. Just observe. We're just going to take a few minutes in this space. Remembering to stay in a state of just open allowance. Begin tuning the vessel into that frequency of that source state, that one state. As you bring that into the body, allow that vibration to transmit out through the heart chakra, through that web, until your pulses are radiating all the way around the entire globe. Now, as you travel back down that strand, back to yourself, go slowly and imagine there's a great big ring around your strand. And this ring is that whole vibration of source consciousness. We're just going to be coming down the strand as an observer, looking for any highlighted areas that seek our attention, that seek us to witness them. And allow yourself to come back down your strand and witness. If there's an area that needs particular focus, Open up that ring and allow that strand to open like you have a great big movie screen, and show you what needs to be seen, what's ready to be observed and allowed. Continue bringing that focus back, releasing those strands, allowing them to come back into whole fiber state, all the way back. When you find another, expand. Give it the viewer window, give it a mouth, whatever it is that works for you, whatever comes to you. Continue back, coming back, dividing up, recognizing how pieces have now slipped away from that strand and are no longer quite you, right? They've separated away from you too. Now they're doing their own exploration, coming into the focus of the self, allowance of you, where you are you, identifying. Bringing that vibration even more into the soul, into the self. And I'll hold space until I feel we've all come all the way back to the heart of ourselves. Carrying with us that seed of the source of ourselves. Through that line, that vibration, all the way until we're planting it in our hearts. Hold that seed with love as you warm the soil of your heart for it. And mail is delivered through my door. Call in Gabriel with his healing waters to pour those waters over your seed. Asking Gaia to give all the nutrients she has to support you in your growth and blossoming, your unfolding of you. And call in that prismatic, crystalline energy that's coming from Source now, down to shine upon your seed as the hull opens and you blossom. Allow the roots of this blossoming hue to reach all the way down into your roots of your body, intertwining through every cell of your body, through the spaces between your cells. You're grounding fully in to this vessel, this physical expression that you came here to be. Isn't it beautiful? Allow your self plant to grow and to grow flowers, little buds, wherever they grow within you, effortlessly and gracefully, whatever kind of flower they are. See those flowers be pollinated. We're going to call in that queen mother bee energy that's been in the air so much lately. Even though it's the middle of winter, she's still here. Call in the bees to pollinate your flowers, your life, your plant. See the flowers closing and their buds swelling at the base into a new fruit, the fruit that is the nourishment of you. Allow that fruit to grow and swell, ripen. And when it is ready, I want you to pick one of those fruits and eat it. And allow that energy to open up through your system, radiating out from every cell and even the spaces between. Morning, Alex. This is another one that might put you to sleep. Continue to stay in this state as long as you want. Whenever you're feeling low, whenever you're feeling drawn down in your creation, remember you're making your own fruit. You can eat them whenever you need that nourishment, and to remember who you are, who you came here to be, what you came here to be. Have a beautiful weekend, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Jewel, a whatever it is that you're celebrating and practicing. I love you, and I'll see you on Monday.